Hello, and welcome to this app tour for the Living Hope Church app for Living Hope Church in Marysville, Ohio. We make these app videos to show you the different things that can be done with your church app, because many times it can be hard for the church to get across everything that can be accomplished, since so much is available in the church app. So already you see me deep pressing, so I'm pressing hard on the Living Hope icon here, and you can see it opens this. We'll call it's the quick action menu, but it can be like hard to find if you don't know it exists. And this is available on iPhone 6s, iPhone 6s Plus, iPhone 7, iPhone 7 Plus, and it gives you the ability to dive into different sections of the Living Hope app without even having to open the app and navigate through menus. But instead of doing this, I'm going to dive right into the app like you normally would by pressing the app icon. And you can see here is the splash screen for Living Hope Church, and at the bottom you have tabs showing you all the different sections you can go into. So I'm going to start off on the left tab here, the notes section. And you can see here you have Living Hope's sermon notes for this last Sunday, which was about David and Goliath. And you can see the notes are written here. They're here every week. I check in on most of the churches that we work with personally and make sure that everything is going smoothly. And I see Living Hope is always updating their sermon notes. So this is a very dependable way to access sermon notes. And what's neat about this isn't just that the sermon notes are available, but as you can see at the top of the screen, it says touch any section to take a note. So I can tap David and Goliath at the top here, and it will open the ability for me to take a personal note. So I'm just going to type note 1 here. I'm going to try to type note 1 here while you watch me type, and click add, and you can see next to David Goliath now there's a little note symbol, and that's to signify to me, hey, this section has a personal note taken on it. So now I can scroll down here to this next big block of text, and I'm going to type note 2, and you'll see once again a little symbol appear. So now I can scroll through real fast, and you can just see it's very obvious what sections I've taken a note on. And if I go back to David and Goliath, there's note 1 waiting for me. So instead of making your personal notes clog up the note section, making it difficult to see what parts are from the church and what parts are notes you've taken, this keeps your notes hidden inside the area you took them. But you can always go back and edit them, see what you wrote, and when the message is over, you can scroll down to the bottom and press the email sermon button here. And when you press that, it will open all of the notes inside of an email, but it will have your notes where you took them. So you see David and Goliath is written at the top of this email, and right below that is my personal note where I wrote note 1. Obviously, you can write a lot more than note 1. You can write paragraphs and paragraphs and paragraphs on every single section of the sermon, and it'll mark it in the email just like you see here with all these asterisks and showing where your personal notes are, making it easy for you to see what sections you took a note on. So you'll see as I scroll down here, there's note 2 where I took it on this block of text. So this gives you a great way to take your own personal notes and have them where you took them. And now instead of having a bulletin where you only have so much room to write, you have infinite space to write. And when you email it, you can set up your email client like Gmail to take these emails and archive them in a special folder or however you want to do that. So then forever, while you're using this app, week after week after week, you can take your notes, email them to yourself, have your email client archive them, and then you'll be able to have all of the sermon notes there ready to reference. So let's say you have a life group or something going on, you can then access the notes and reference the notes that you took with that life group. So the next section I want to talk about, so I'm just going to delete this email, is the media section. The media section is more than just sermons. You can see we have Living Hope sermon series divided here, and every sermon of the sermon series are how you can access the sermons, making it really easy to access a specific topic from Living Hope. But you can see at the top you also have the ability to access Living Hope's newsletter and Living Hope's video. So the video section is just a list of all of the videos coming out of Living Hope, and you can watch any of them here. And the newsletter, though, lets you access Living Hope's newsletter without even subscribing to it. So the significance is here is perhaps you don't want to subscribe to the newsletter because you already get all sorts of stuff coming in your email, or maybe you just want an easy way to access it without having to search your mailbox. You can just open the Living Hope app, access the media section, press news, and you have the newest newsletter here. So this will always be the newest newsletter that was sent out, and it's ready here for you to read. So this gives you really easy access, and just know it doesn't require anything of you. It's just here ready to read. So now going down to the sermons below, you see you have your sermons listed here, and in the top right corner you see a folder button. I'm going to press that right now. You can say, hey, it says there's no sermons downloaded. Now I say that, and I'm going to come back to why I show you that. So let's go ahead and navigate to one of these sermons. Let's go to In the Beginning. So I'm going to press the In the Beginning sermon series, and now I have all of the sermons from In the Beginning listed in the order they were given. So the top one is the newest sermon. So if I wanted to do this whole sermon series through for any reason, I would scroll down to the bottom, and I could start with the oldest sermon. So I'm going to go into the oldest sermon, which is Good News, Bad News. And now I have the ability to listen to this, and to the right of that, you can see I have a download button. So I can just press listen to audio and start listening, or I can press the download button so that instead of streaming the sermon, I'll have it downloaded and then I can listen to it offline later. And this feature is great because I love listening to sermons while I go running, but I like to run and listen to it using, like, I don't usually use my phone. I usually take something else. Let's say my iPod Touch. And this way I can have the app on my iPod Touch. I can download the message and go running without needing a network connection. So I'm going to go ahead and press that down arrow, and you can see that we'll immediately start downloading the message. It goes super fast, and now the message is downloaded and ready to start listening to. So I'm going to go ahead and just download a few of these because I want to have a few ready to listen to when I go running. And now I have, the start of this sermon series In the Beginning ready to use. So now I can back out, and you can see in the top right corner is the folder. I'm going to go ahead and press that, and here is the In the Beginning series. So now in the downloaded section, it also divides it by sermon series, helping you to keep things organized by sermon series. So now here are those two messages that I downloaded. The bottom one is the oldest one, so that's where I want to start. And here it is ready to listen to downloaded. Once you've downloaded it, will always play the downloaded version. So I didn't actually have to navigate here to listen to the downloaded version. I could have stayed where I was, where I originally downloaded it at. But this just gave you an example of how you can access just the downloaded sermons. So I'm going to press listen to audio, and you can see it brings up the audio player with this fun animation, and immediately the sermon's playing. You can see the timers going on the left and right showing how long we've listened and how long is left on the right, and the message is playing. So now while I'm here, obviously I can control, play, stop, do whatever I want. But let's say I navigate away. Let's say I go to the notes section. Well, here, now the animation has followed me around, and the significance of this is when there's a message playing, it can be tough to know how to get back to it at this point. I could be anywhere in the app, and I have audio playing, so how do I get back? And this animation follows you around the app just so you can navigate back to the sermon. So I'm going to I'm just going to touch that animation at the bottom of the screen, and boom, I'm right back in the sermon regardless of where I was in the app. And this makes it really easy for me to come back here. I can scrub. You can see I'm fast forwarding to wherever I want just by touching that bar. Or I can press pause and pause it now. So that gives you the ability to, from anywhere in the app, get back to what it is you're listening to and easily control it. Something else is, let's say that you've downloaded a lot of sermons. You've listened to series after series after series of Living Hope. How do you manage that? The first way is you can press this X on the right. So if you haven't downloaded it, it's an arrow pointing down. If you have downloaded it, it's an X. And when I press that, it asks if I want to delete the sermon. So this gives me the ability to easily delete it from here, or back when I downloaded it in the other menu when I was just navigating sermons in general, I could also delete it there. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to press back. And also here in the list of sermon series, there's a trash can in the top right. I could also press the trash can, and this will delete every single sermon that I have downloaded. And the significance here is, let's say you do have 10 sermon series and every sermon from all of those series downloaded. You may not want to have all that downloaded if you've already listened to it all. So this gives you ability to just delete everything, all of those sermons that you've downloaded. You can still access them from the other menu, and you can still download new sermons or the ones you already downloaded, but this just helps you to free up space on your device easily without having to go to each sermon and delete them. And all of this just shows that we tried to make it so the app makes it so you can easily delete sermons from anywhere that you are within the sermons menu and do it in mass deletion or just delete a single sermon. So with that, we've covered everything that you can do with the media section. So next up is the calendar. This is the Living Hope calendar, and from any event on here, you can press the Add to Calendar button or the Information button. So I'm going to go ahead and click the Information button, and this just gives you a little bit of additional information, repeating the time that the event is and the date that it is. And Living Hope has the ability to add extra information here if there's any extra details that need to be added. But also, next to that button is the Add to Calendar button. button. So I'm going to press this, and you can see the first time you ever press this. So I've never pressed this button in this app, and I've deleted it, re-downloaded it, so you're experiencing it as if it's the first time it's been used. It says, it asks if I want to allow the app to be able to add events to my device calendar. And by this, I'm on an iPhone, so it's asking if it can add it to an iCalendar. So it's not asking about the Living Hope app, adding it to the Living Hope app. It's asking to add it to my Google Calendar or my iCalendar. So I'm going to go ahead and say yes. I want to allow it to add it. So now the event has been added to my calendar. So now my iCal on May 3rd has this Olympians and Gopher Buddies event added to it. So the neat thing about this is now that I've added that, I can select any of these events. So let's go down to this prayer meeting for military families. I'm going to press add to calendar there, and it doesn't even ask me for permission anymore because I've already given it permission. So now I can go through the list of all of the events from Living Hope, and I can just press add to calendar for every single event that applies to me. And within probably less than 10 seconds, I can add, 5, 10, 20 events to my calendar. And if my calendar is linked with my wife's calendar, we're getting all of those events synchronized through all of our calendars, making it really easy to get all of Living Hope's information synchronized into our calendar so we can keep track of it. And we don't even have to check this until more events have been added and then add those to our calendars for those that apply. So hopefully it's pretty obvious how powerful this tool is. And honestly, of all the tools that we have available inside of the apps we make, this is perhaps the most used feature. It might not have the most flair, but it's so useful being able to now just scroll through and quickly click add to calendar, add to calendar, add to calendar for every event that applies to me. All right, next up is the reading plan. So I'm going to go in here. It's going to load quickly, and you can see it says it's reading for day 1 of week 1. So like I said, we're kind of launching this as if I launched this app as if it's the first run. So the app does not see that I have ever accessed the reading plan before. So I can press Genesis 1 through 31, which I'm going to touch right now. And you can see it opens the scripture. It's here, ready for me to use. And in the bottom right corner, you can see there's a magnifying glass where I can zoom in or I can zoom out and have the text as big as I want. And the app will remember what my setting was. So once I set that, I can come back here and it will always have the same font size as it had when I set it. The other thing you can do is you can see the arrows here that allow you to paginate. So I'm going to scroll down. So it's like I read the first day, and now I'm going to click the right arrow, and you can see now I'm in the second reading for today. So now it's Genesis 2 instead of Genesis 1. And then let's say I've read through all of that. I'm going to select the arrow again, and now it says you have completed today's reading. So it now has those check marks showing, hey, today is now finished, which is neat because now when I come back, once you get that message, once the app is killed, or once the app is closed in the background and you come back into it tomorrow, the app will remember, and when you click reading, it will take you to day 2 of week 1, and it will keep progressing you through that. Or if you want to just access the next day, you can see at the bottom, it says week 1, and then below that a big 1. I can press the right arrow there, and it will take me to day 2 of week 1 after it loads. Something else that's really neat is in the top right corner is the ability to time hop. So I can press that, and let's say that I've been reading the reading plan with someone, or let's say someone at the church tells me about the reading plan. I had no idea it exists. Maybe you just watched this video for the first time and you're finding out about it. And someone at church says, hey, have you seen our reading plan? It's amazing. I've been doing it for 16 weeks now. I would love it if you would join me. Well, what do you do now? It would be awesome to be able to go through the Bible with someone or a group of people from church, but they're already way into it. Are you just going to jump through it and keep checking off every scripture for 16 weeks? Well, what we've done is we've included something we call time hop. And if you press this button in the top right, it gives you the ability to be able to jump to any week in any day. So we said they're on week 16. Let's say they're on week 16, day 3. Now I can specifically pick week 16, day 3 and say set new starting date. And now you can see it says day 3 of week 16. Now we're way in 1 Samuel, whereas before we were in Genesis. And now the app will always remember that this is where I am. The app now has set itself to say, okay, we have read up to this point, as if we've checked every single reading up to this point. And if I kill the app now and reopen it, it will start me here. If I read these scriptures, it will remember I read today and it will start me on day 4. And now I have set the app so that I have caught up with that entire group, giving me the ability to join anyone at any point, no matter how long they've been involved with the reading plan. Just for a side note, the reading plan is based off of Replicate Ministries F260 reading plan. You can see up there in the top right, it says Replicate. And this reading plan doesn't cover every single verse in the Bible. It covers the core scriptures in the Bible that make up Christianity, and it's made to be read 5 times a week so that you don't have to feel like, man, if I commit to this, I'm going to have to read every single day of the year. No, it's meant to be read 5 days a week. I assume their thought process was you read every weekday and then take the weekends off, but you can do that however you want or read multiple times in one day to keep up if you fall behind. But that just gives you a little idea of how the reading plan works. So the last section I want to talk about is the Connect section. So I selected the Connect section. You can just see this gives you a number of ways that you can connect with Living Hope. The newest thing there is the Review Us button where you can review Living Hope, but you have ways to connect with Living Hope on their website. You can submit a prayer request. You can even call or email them, and you can access social media without even having social media. So you don't need to have a Twitter account or Facebook account. From here, you can just immediately dive straight into Living Hope's Facebook or Twitter account to be able to access what they are posting there. So hopefully this gave you a really good idea of all the things that you can do with the Living Hope app. If you want to see more things that are possible with a FaithLink app, which FaithLink, we are the company that makes the Living Hope app, you can visit our website at www.faithlinkapps.com.